Let's talk a little bit about linebackers. Got a couple of them that people seem to be interested in. Sione-Takitaki. What do you see about him? What do you like about him, Jake?
They got to like his play speed. He plays fast. He plays aggressive all the time. If you've read anything, and another guy I wrote on there in Sione, you know, it's a good overcoming hardship story. He went through several suspensions, was kicked off the BYU team after his sophomore year, got his life back together, met his future wife there at BYU, and really turned his career around. Played a lot of edge in 2017. Was effective as an edge defender in a different scheme, and then they switched to a 4-3 his senior year, and he really took off as an inside linebacker. Really good sideline-to-sideline range, aggressive, like I said, in blitz scenarios. Does a nice job with long arms, taking on blocks, which is also highly effective too. And he's athletic enough to play man coverage, which I think is why he shot up the board, because you need linebackers who can play man coverage, so he can do that well. So what Cleveland fans should be excited about is an aggressive player, can play inside or out, positional versatility, and a hungry personality for a guy who's turned his life around and really eager to prove himself as a third-round pick.
Another guy they got later in the draft was Mack-Wilson. You surprised how late they got him, and do you see maybe a little bit more polish from Mack-Wilson playing at Alabama?
That's tough. I'm currently studying a ton about Mack-Wilson. I'll just say this: I understand why he fell to the 5th round. I think he comes from a good system, Alabama, where they really get the most out of their players. He's just a sound football player. He's not overly athletic. He's not in Takitaki's athletic ability range. He's just sort of he's solid. I don't know what other way to say it. He doesn't jump off the film. He doesn't really possess that elite athleticism that you look for in some of these linebackers that are running 4.4s, 4.5s. He doesn't do that stuff, and he doesn't have a high motor play speed. He didn't produce a ton of tackles at Alabama, and I just think that's because he doesn't have a nose for the football necessarily. Does that mean he can't tackle or that he doesn't understand how to diagnose things? No, but you need to have a nose for the football. And almost the best linebackers have that sixth sense for how to find it and diagnose plays that are happening almost before they happen, and he doesn't necessarily do that. But they did get in a really sound football player who I think can be a nice depth piece and could potentially be a third linebacker in a lot of systems, but he is not going to come in and blow the top off of things in terms of expectations, because I don't think he's quite there. He could surprise. I'm pulling for him as I pull for any of the guys the Browns select. But when you look at the film, you just sort of see a guy who built a reputation around a defense that was much better than the sum of what he was able to do for it. Like I said, does that mean he can't figure it out here and become a tackling machine? No, he could certainly figure that out and be a really good football player in Cleveland, but you're not looking at elite production at the college level. You're not looking at elite athleticism. You kind of tie those two together, and it makes sense why he fell to the 5th round. But you are getting a guy who's played at the highest level of college football. He's seen a lot of things. He understands how to play linebacker, and like I said, he could be a really nice 4th linebacker for the Browns who can play special teams, like I mentioned earlier, for a long time. And, if the coaching takes off and he turns the corner as an athlete a little bit, you never know what he could turn into. But the 5th round pick felt about right for that scenario, and I'm glad the Browns didn't reach any higher than that.